probably the most common right now is Facebook lawyering and Google lawyering, where people decide that they don't need a lawyer, they know how to do this themselves.
Right.
And they get bad advice. And one example I've used since before Facebook, not an example, really, but is, I don't know how many times in my life I've been to the dentist. I go regularly, but I am absolutely not qualified to look inside anybody's mouth. And just because somebody has been through a divorce or two does not make them an expert on divorce.
Right.
It's too, every case is different. It involves anything that people can own or owe. So on the property side, we deal with anything you can own or owe. And different estates have different assets, different
Right.
needs. People are different ages, different stages in life. They need, first thing would be see a lawyer. The other mistakes would be, for example, sometimes people fixate on items that will not be important later. Tangible items like a, a poster, for example, or a piece of furniture that is
Right.
emotionally important. But 2 years later, you don't want to be sitting looking at that poster thinking, gosh, I wish I had more retirement. And so it's those things, there's an emotional attachment, and we understand it, but it's important not to focus on those.
Right.
Sometimes people try to do their own um, division, and they want to go down the line and divide each asset 50, 50, 50, 50, and that's very inefficient, administratively difficult, doesn't really address people's future needs. If we're trying to
Right.
get to a 50-50 of the estate, we can do that overall. Perhaps we move an entire residence to one spouse and then a big chunk of a 401k to the other one to get to the same place.
Right.
But those are mistakes that people make. Um, I know you asked for three, but I could say not following up on closing documents is a big one. So the judge signs a divorce decree, but we still have to do property deeds if property is being conveyed from one spouse to the other. We still have to do the post divorce division of the retirement via a quadro. You may have as simple as an auto power of attorney because the decree says one spouse gets the Jeep, and then they go to sell that Jeep 2 or 3 years later or trade it in, and
Right.
the dealer says, "Hey, your ex-spouse has to sign the title," and the ex-spouse says, "Oh, is that signature worth $5,000? How bad do you want it?" So there's a document that can be signed that lets you sign that title. Those things often get overlooked, and it's very important to follow up and get them done, and then set aside as best as someone can the anger because they can make a very bad deal by being emotional.